Hello, this is Keay-Smith from the Business Marketing Show. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. With me on the show today, of course, we have Brendan Tully, our co-host, and we have our special guest, Annabel Amann. Now, Annabel, I met at a recent networking event and we got chatting, and she has a very interesting background. She has 17 years of marketing and communication experience working in Australia and the United Arab Emirates, always a tongue twister, or the UAE, if you'd like to say that, working with small to large organisations to identify the best path forward to achieve their marketing, communications, and most importantly, their business objectives as they export and expand into complex yet rewarding region of Middle East. And there's a lot happening in the Middle East coming up in the next year or two, in 2020 in particular, with the World Expo that's happening there. So we thought we'd have Annabel on the show to discuss what is going on there. So welcome, Annabel, to the show. How are you?
So much. Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Our pleasure. Welcome to the craziness of the Business Marketing Show, the Ed and Brendan show.
Crazy, Ed.
So crazy. We like to be a bit silly on the show, Annabel, because there's no point in being serious all the time when it comes to business, because I think my theory is you remember more when you laugh at things than when it's all just plain and dull and boring. So we try and spice it up.
Sounds good.
So give us a bit of a backstory, because 17 years is a long time in the marketing and communications and various things that you've done there. So we would like to go back. How did you actually get into the space of this marketing game that you're in?
Yeah, sure. So went back to doing university, doing a communications degree at Charles Sturt University in regional New South Wales. And majoring in PR. And from there I was always agency side, and worked with, I was very lucky to work for a lot of, large network agencies. And then through choice, found myself, working more on the boutique PR agencies and integrated communication agencies.
Right.
So I used to live in Sydney for up until I was 28, and so a huge amount of my career was there. And then I moved over to Perth in 2010, and also worked here for a number of years in Perth for a PR agency. Before moving up to Dubai for 4 years, which is where I came across Acorn Strategy with Kate Midton, who is the managing director and founder of Acorn Strategy. And worked with Acorn Strategy for 4 years, and have now brought that brand to Australia and have opened up the operation here.
Awesome. So there's a bit of a story about how you ended up in Dubai, or United Arab Emirates.
Yes.
How did that happen? Was it a planned thing or off the cuff?
Yeah. So it was actually, my husband's a pilot, and the opportunity came about that we could do a leave without pay type. I love how I always use we, as if his job's like my job.
Wow.
So he had the opportunity to do a leave without pay agreement and contract with Emirates. And we jumped at that opportunity to just throw in something a little bit different to our lives, the tapestry of life. And so we moved to Dubai, and to be honest, I really didn't move to Dubai with a massive career move in mind. It was driven through Matt, my husband, going as a pilot, and I would, enjoy that adventure and see where it would take me professionally. And then 1 month in of actually being there, a friend of mine got me in contact with Kate, who was requiring some help with overflow work that she was doing. There was quite a few high profile projects for Hilton Worldwide, and some other pretty incredible brands. And so I jumped at the opportunity because part-time work actually in the UAE is really hard to come by because of visas and the cost of visas. So part-time work is not common. So yeah, obviously with this opportunity, I jumped at it and went from overflow work to us deciding that we would really make something of the brand and really grow the brand. So it's been an incredibly exciting, I guess, experience the last 4 years.
Awesome. So Acorn Strategy is the company you're working with. So it says on the site you're the general manager. So what exactly is your role at Acorn Strategy?
Yeah, so previously to coming back to WA, I was head of implementation, which involved the rolling out of all of our strategy and planning work for our clients and managing our team. So from then, I've moved back to Perth and have opened up the Australian operation. It's just me at the moment, tapping into, we now have a team of 16 full-time consultants in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So my role is to obviously get clients and feed that work, being that go-to in-between person to be able to consult on the ground here, but to also then feed in briefs to the rest of the team to obviously roll out and implement. We are focusing very heavily on the Middle East and helping brands who are either currently in the Middle East or are breaking into the Middle East, and how we can tailor their marketing strategy appropriately to the market of the Middle East, because it is very complex and unique.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that people forget, is trying to do business in another country, even if it's another country that's English speaking, that you have to deal with the cultural differences even there. But when you go to somewhere like China or Dubai, you've got those language barriers as well. So how did you find it working there? How many years were you in Dubai for?
4 years.
4 years, okay. Yeah. And did you learn any of the local languages, or it's always just English?
Look, enough for respect and the courtesy, but no, I didn't learn the language per se. My children were at school learning Arabic, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. But we, in terms of our team, we've got a lot of, I guess, locals who absolutely, specialists when it comes to Arabic translation and speaking Arabic to a very academic level, because it is, it is a very, very complex language. Just an example is, to actually even write love, the word love, there's 9 different words or ways that you can describe love, and they don't just have one word. They go into all of the stages of love. So it depends on the context of what you're writing, for which term or word they use when describing that love. So it's, it's very, very complex. It's not as simple as doing a straight word translation. So it is very important to have, I guess, a team of copywriters who are very, I guess, as I say, academic in their approach, and making sure that whatever the content is for your client, that it is going to be translated in context, and that is also respectful to the culture. Yeah. All sorts of things. So.
Yeah, that's a critical thing, and I've seen this happen a lot with large companies that move into different territories or other countries, and they try and just duplicate what they're doing in that place, and they usually fail. Amazon has had that happen to them. Lots of other big companies have had it happen to them. So yeah, you've really got to do your market research and get people on the ground who can help you work through that. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think, one of the barriers that I find with Australia is that there is also a bit of fear of outsourcing overseas. And I think that's where we are, I guess, offering something that's a bit unique in that, we can be that person on the ground. I'm here, we can talk. We've got 6 Aussies in our team. But there is, I guess, a sense of fear of, getting in touch with people on the ground. It's overwhelming, it's complex, and that potentially even turns people off the market altogether. So I think it's very important that I guess the first thing is absolutely making sure that you are tailoring your marketing strategy according to that market and the market characteristics and the cultural nuances as well. It's really important to get that right. And, without that, especially in such a culturally rich environment like the Middle East, it's important to get it right and to put your best foot forward. And because, as you said, a lot of brands don't consider that, and they try and roll out what's worked in potentially their country of origin, and it just doesn't.
Destined for failure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and in an ideal world, wouldn't that be great? But you do have to do your due diligence and really look into the market and to reevaluate and sort of recreate in a way your brand and your marketing approach and tailor it to that market. One thing that a lot of people don't also realise in the UAE is that there's 80% expats from all over the world, and only 20% are the local Emiratis. So, it depends on what your product is, what your company is, what your business offers as to, who you are communicating with, and who makes up your target market. Because it is a really complex, structure to the community there in that, as I said, there is a huge amount of different cultures in that 80% of expats to consider. And then, of course, you've got that added complexity of then the Emiratis on top as well. So.
Yeah, it is. It would be daunting. Like, I wouldn't have a clue.
That's right. Yeah.
So what are you seeing as some of the opportunities at the moment there? And we'll talk about the expo that's happening in 2020 in a minute. But spending 4 years there, you must have seen some things that were more popular and more demand that would be open opportunities for Australian businesses to get involved. What do you see as those happening there?
Well, I mean, I recently actually read some statistics that I thought were pretty amazing. In the Department of Foreign Affairs put out some stats last year about the merchandise trade export market, and they made something like $3.45 billion from Australia to the UAE just in 2017.
Wow.
Which is pretty incredible, and that was 19% more than the year before.
Right.
So the market is growing, and the demand is there, and also the World Bank also has just announced that they were number 21 out of 190 nations and territories in terms of the ease of doing business. So I think, as we were sort of talking about, there is this sense of being really overwhelmed when thinking, the Middle East is so much complexity, it's the unknown. But if you dig deeper, there is actually some really incredible opportunities, and one of those being the World Expo 2020, which is going to be hosted in Dubai. They're expecting, I think over 25 million people during that 6-month long event.
Wow.
Which is, and all from all over the planet, which is incredible. And they, I think they announced something like $50 billion worth of indirect and direct investments as well in the lead up and during that event. So yeah, it's incredibly exciting for, countries all over the world and all the different sectors, and obviously businesses as well to get involved and to get their approach right, and to present themselves right in that market for that massive opportunity that's there waiting.
Yeah. So how do businesses in Australia get involved with the Expo? And is there any support from the Australian government to do that?
Yeah, I think that's all going to be really over the next couple of months. That will all prevail. The Australian government is basically, a lot of tenders are being announced as we speak for the Australian Pavilion, and with that goes all of the comms and all of the rollout in terms of education to businesses and to states, and for the states to then feed that into local businesses and so forth in terms of the opportunities that lie there.
Yeah.
So that is to come. But currently, though, there is absolutely opportunities for businesses to go to. There's the World Expo. I think it's worldexpo2020.com, I believe. And then also another spot that you can, for businesses and individuals to go and have a look at, is the expohub.com. And that's actually a microsite that we've created that is a bit of it centralizes a lot of the information. And announces, when things, business opportunities arise, any insights and updates that are coming from the local government, that can all be found there. So that's on LinkedIn as well. So that's worth, I think, people to look for if they are interested in learning more about the expo itself. But yeah, the government is absolutely periodically announcing more and more opportunities. So to keep abreast of that, definitely go onto that website where you can, find out the different opportunities for each business. I'm going to be over the next couple of months as well writing a few articles about the opportunities for Australian businesses and what it means to Australian businesses. So that I'll obviously feed that into my LinkedIn.
Account. Great. We'll put a link to those sites and to your LinkedIn profile so people can connect and also keep up to date. So, Brendan, you haven't had an opportunity to speak.
I'm just listening in.
You're listening intently. You got to test out those cute little earphones you got in.
Yeah.
Your lovely little pods. They're so cute on you, Brendan. I've got some as well, so yeah, go for it.
Listening,
very cool.
Listening intently. So it's interesting that these export markets provide such opportunity that most people, because a lot of businesses, it's not front of mind, right? Like it's expanding out into another market is not a lot. It's a lot of businesses who, especially those in manufacturing here in Australia or have unique Australian goods, don't really think about. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think especially, obviously we're Australia-wide, and I think there's a massive push with Asia. I think it's such a hot topic, which I totally agree and understand. But I guess a slightly misrepresented market, in the media, is the Middle East. And I think there's a lot of preconceived ideas as to, the complexity of the culture and what that might entail. I think there's potentially a little bit of fear of the unknown. And I guess partly in a way, there's a large percentage of people that I'm talking to, businesses that aren't fussed by those preconceived ideas. They know how it is. They're aware. The reality is, the amount of opportunity that is there. But those who haven't sort of dig deeper and haven't looked into it, there is absolutely, I understand, because I used to be, similar. So I totally understand that there's these sort of preconceived ideas because of how the media portrays the region. It creates a little bit of fear in us, I think, which I hope through just education and events, I guess, like the World Expo, being in Dubai will help countries and businesses to realise the amount of opportunity and that it's an amazing. I absolutely loved my time living there and miss it daily. To be honest, it's fantastic. The UAE is a fantastic place to live. I couldn't recommend it more highly. So it's I think that as I said, I think once you've got perspective and you have dug a little bit deeper, people will start seeing that there is actually a huge amount of opportunity, especially in some key sectors. For Australia, obviously agriculture is huge. The merchandise side of things is big, being the fact that there is 80% expats. There's obviously a major desire for Australian products. Australia's got an amazing reputation in the Middle East, so it's you've almost got, even just the fact that you are Australian, you're almost ahead of other countries in itself. So we've got amazing high quality and high standards for our products and services, which is very much appreciated on the ground there and is highly sought after as well. So if you get the product right and you market it correctly, there is a huge amount of opportunity there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think, in particular, you're mentioning agricultural is a large portion of that, with the exportation of all those types of products. So in terms of services, what do you see is being taken up a lot in terms of the service industry from Australia to places like Dubai?
In terms of the service industries, education is another area that's I guess a massive area that a lot of Emiratis, it's again getting an education in Australia is huge.
Right.
And so that's an area that I think I know the Australian ambassador is focusing very heavily on that in the UAE. And that's I think a big focus also for WA and a lot of Australia as well, is that international education. So that's sort of, I guess, two things that we have greatly in common with the UAE is trying to generate that international two-way education. So we've got the Murdoch, I think, is just closed up in Dubai, sadly. But we do have out of WA, for instance, Curtin in Dubai, which is doing very well, and the Western University of WA as well is positioned elsewhere in other regions through a number of initiatives. There's also amazing suppliers like Phoenix Academy, which are WA based, who are offering amazing services in that, to try and teach corporates and even to educate locals on how to better present themselves in Australia and in the Western world. And so there are many areas, and it's almost one of those endless things. But I guess the key highlights in terms of sectors that are of also great interest to, I guess, Australia, which is a massive part of that trade and investment, I'd say is agriculture and education. Also, aviation, and I think those key areas are areas where there is immense opportunity, because, as I said, especially with agriculture and the premium products that are coming out of Australia are absolutely world class, and the safety and everything that goes, I guess the regulation that we have in Australia means that these products are are second to none. And it also just means that especially places like Dubai who are after those premium products, they're doing really well, and there is a lot of opportunity for other brands and products that who are thinking of potentially taking their brands internationally, or are expanding, already are international, and are looking to find that next market to enter as well.
Cool. The money that seems to be there is quite mind blowing, and when you see the expansion of the city.
I know.
I don't know. Have you been there, Brendan? Have you been to Dubai?
Oh, not for any length of time, but
okay. I haven't been there for much more than, I don't know, it was 4 days, I think. So it was really just a little sneak peek into the city, but it was, pretty amazing what was going on at the time and everything that was getting built. And
it's incredible. I mean, it's in Australia, we are lucky in that we are so heavily regulated. But one thing that I found so, quite incredible about Dubai is that, one day they decide that we need a road here.
Yeah.
And the next day it's getting done. There's so much forward planning in Australia, which, has it's got its reasons for that. It's how our society is set up, but it's quite amazing how, things are just done so quickly. It's just mind blowing. It's, every week there's just seems to be a new restaurant popping up, or a new, new highway being built, or a new safari park, or, it's like, we don't have, I don't know, some new radio studios. We'll just build them here and we're going to call it Studio City. And, so it's quite
mind-blowing. Yeah.
It is. It's really quite amazing. And what they have planned for the World Expo as well, which is actually just inland from a place called Jebel Ali. It's again, mind-blowing. It's almost sci-fi,
it'd be very cool to see that.
Yeah, it's actually hard to even fathom that what all of their renders that they've created. It's hard to imagine that it's even going to, exist.
I've seen some of the renders and pictures of what's going to get built, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of out of this world, and it's I think it's everyone's going to be in for a treat, and I can't wait to go and to experience it. It's and the good thing is it is 6 months long, and it's crazy, but it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, 7 days a week.
Whoa.
6 months. I know.
They're my hours. Like that was made for me. 10 a.m. to
standard
2.
Business hours.
That is perfect. That is, you've got me. You had me at 10
Yeah,
a.m.
totally.
That's fantastic. So I think it's really cool. I mean, we've got different people that have come on the podcast, talking about doing business in China and other places. So I think, what's the flight time from Perth to Dubai? Is it 8 hours?
10 hours.
10 hours. Okay, 10 hours. So
4-hour time zone change for WA, 6 hours depending on the time of the year for the East Coast. But out of WA, very, very easy flight, really.
Especially on Emirates, because of course, who else would you fly with? Definitely my favourite airline. Anyway, plug for Emirates. Not that I have any great bearing on the people buying flights, but certainly, Emirates and Singapore Airlines, my two favourite.
We're happy to take sponsorship,
Yeah.
Yes, Emirates. If you're listening, come down and speak to us, or give us a call. We'll happily discuss it. So, look, we've taken up a chunk of your time, Annabel. You've got lots of things happening, so we'd like to wrap things up. And Brendan, is there anything else you would like to ask or check about before Annabel goes back to?
If someone's interested in doing business there, what would be the first step? Do they go to the website? Do they reach out to you? What's that process?
Look, I mean, if they are absolutely lost, I'm more than happy to try and put them in the right direction. We usually, in terms of that, the tunnel, in terms of where they're at, we ultimately would love to come on once that decision has been made to export, so we can help them in establishing the appropriate launch strategy and rejigging their brand and marketing strategy as well. But if they are absolutely at the beginning of that sort of decision process, I would definitely do, as I said, a bit of due diligence, doing some research online. Even getting in contact with country managers at Austrade, I think would be a great start as well.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking to the government who are specialising in that region, I think is a smart idea. Trying to get as much insights as you can about the market, and then as I said, kind of collecting that intel and being able to decide whether or not it's something that would benefit and you see growth in. But again, I think once that decision has been made, we can certainly then come on and help with helping and going a lot deeper in your research into that market. We very much look into the sort of PESTLE research, so we look into the political side of the market, economic, the environmental, social, technological, and legal aspects as well of the market itself, and what that means to then your business and your products, and how to best bring that to life in that market, taking into consideration as well a lot of trends and growth categories and so forth. So we very much try and highlight, I guess, all of the main opportunities, and then how to roll that out successfully. So we also then help a lot of companies either hand that strategy over and brief their marketing team to implement, or we also obviously take on that role of rolling things out on the ground. So it's a bit of hand holding for people to really feel comfortable and really confident that there's people on the ground looking out for the brand and making sure that it's represented in the right light, and it's ultimately achieving business objectives of growth and establishing the brand there. So I do think a good start is Austrade, and then following that, if it's something that you'd like to move forward with, please get in touch, really.
Fantastic. And we'll put the contact details below, but what's the best email address to get you on, Annabel?
Yeah, it's Annabel, Annabel at Acorn Strategy. So AcornStrategy.com.
.com, cool.
Yeah.
Or .com.au, because you got both, don't you?
Yeah, try me on .com.
The .com, we'll stick with the .com.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, look, thanks again for coming on the show. It's been enlightening. I think, there's lots of companies who would think about wanting to do something in a place like Dubai, but yeah, it gets all a bit too much. So baby steps. Look at the opportunity,
absolutely.
Work it out from there, and speak to people like Annabel to help you get that sorted. All right, Brendan, thank you for your time, Mr. B.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much,
we'll maybe have a catch up closer to the expo time. We'll get you back on, or in between, or while you're actually over there. Maybe you can do a walk around for us and show us the.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get you to hold your camera up from 10 till 2 and walk around the whole expo.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'd love to do that.
Yeah. I think it would be pretty amazing sight.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks, guys. Be safe, and thank you for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.